All right, world. So, what I want to talk about is pretty much how the patriarchal household pretty much made me become the person that I am. So, I was raised in a patriarchal household. My parents were married and are still married to this day, going on 25 years. And I don't want anyone to think or feel like I'm trying to put like a negative, connotation to patriarchal households, because I don't think they're negative at all. But growing up in my household, I feel like with my dad being the head, and the things that he's experienced in life, and even the things that he participated in, he kind of encouraged me to how do I say, like, he kind of encouraged my mindset of viewing men in the past as, perpetrators. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I mean by that is, so, an example, growing up, right, my dad had me take taekwondo, boxing. He taught me how to shoot his shotgun when I was, barely 15 years old. And everything that he taught me, especially when it came to self-defense, it was always supported with, I'm an older guy, I'm not going to always be here, and I want my daughters, not just me, but my other sisters, my daughters, to be prepared, just in case they come into a negative situation with a guy, males, and they're able to defend themselves. And I feel like at that moment, that's when I began to view guys as, predators, so to speak. And so I've always been, kind of like molded in this mindset that, as a female, guys will try to take advantage of me, or, try to overpower me, or, disrespect me, or, whatever the case may be. And so that's what started everything, is that preparation that, that my dad's just doing, what dads do, prepare their daughters for the possible worst out there, you know what I'm saying? And so fast forwarding, I would see, growing up, I endured a lot of, I want to say, like, negative attention. I'm gonna put it that way: negative attention from guys, from the catcalling, and guys coming up trying to get my number. And this is as young as 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? And where I would see it as like, it's a definite that I'm a minor, but yet these older men are coming up to me trying to, persuade me into giving them my name or number or whatever, because of what? They're males and I'm a female. Like, they in their minds, I guess I was of age, I guess. I don't know. And I remember a lot of times telling guys, like, they'll come up like, hey, what's your name? What's your number? Hey, yo, ma, stuff like that. And I'll tell them, like, dude, I'm a minor. Like, the freak, like, why are we having this conversation? Like, I'm not old enough to consent to, to anything. I'm not even old enough to purchase cigarettes, And, and those negative encounters, just as I grew, kind of like even more molded my mindset when it came to guys, that they're predators. And fast forwarding more, 17, I joined the Marine Corps, turned 18 in boot camp, get out into the fleet after completing my the required training and everything for my job and all that stuff. Now I'm in the fleet, and I'm like, you know what? My dad prepared me for this life. You know, I gotta be on my P's and Q's. And at this time, you know, obviously, besides the fact that I legally was not of age to drink, I just did not drink because growing up, my parents didn't smoke or drink, you know, and so I was never around it. So even at the age of 18, 19, 20 years old in the military, this one right here never had a sip of alcohol, you know, beer, nothing. No cigarette, nothing. Never smoked a blunt, nothing. You know, I was the good kid, you know what I'm saying? None of that stuff. And so, and I felt like I had to stay like that, you know, because I need to be on my P's and Q's just in case, you know, one of these predators that my dad has been preparing me for tries me. And every roommate that I had, I was going to say freaking, but every roommate that I had, I protected. Even in, you know, Marine Combat Training, which is called MCT, in my West School, where I learned my job, which is a motor transportation operator in the service, guys would, you know, I had friends, well, my roommates, I won't necessarily say friends, but my roommates, you know, they were in that underage drinking lifestyle. And these were, you know, NCOs, E4s, E5s, sometimes even E6 would purchase alcohol and give it to, you know, 18, 19, and maybe 20-year-olds. But for the most part, most of us were about 18, 19. We didn't turn, you know, 20 until, I want to say, well into Okinawa, Japan. But it was like, before even 20, because in Okinawa, Japan, the legal drinking age is 20. But prior to turning 20, we were 18 and 19-year-olds, and you had E4, E5s buying my roommates drinks, trying to convince me like, hey, Grayson, you know, come out with us. Let's go out to, what the freak is it called? Gate 2, and let's go out in town. I can't think of what it's called. It's like right outside of the Hansen base in Okinawa, Japan. But they like, we'll buy you food and stuff. It's like, dude, I don't drink, you know? And then like, all right, well, you know, and I used to go with my friends because in the military there was restrictions, so there was a buddy system. And so I would go with my roommates so that way, you know, they had a buddy because we pretty much got there together. And, you know, I'll see like these E4, E5s, which are corporals and sergeants, filling up these 18, 19-year-olds. And at that time, they were, you know, E2s, maybe E3s, which were anywhere between PFCs and Lance Corporals. Some were even privates. And they would give them drinks, get them all nice and drunk. And then these same guys, by the time we coming in, you know, back into barracks, to flying around, but we come back into the barracks, these same guys that bought, you know, my female room, you know, my roommates, and not just my roommate, but the females that were like the room down from me, and they'll try to come up in their room, and I was always the one, especially when it came up to my room, you know. I don't care what you thought you had going, I don't care if you are, you know, and at the time I didn't care if you were my roommate's boyfriend. You're not coming up in my room, you know what I'm saying? And so I used to push these guys out, E4, E5, like, you know, and at that time I didn't curse, but the way I talked and my persona was very strong, firm, and harsh. So I'm like, yo, you're not coming up in my room, like, and I had no problem with putting hands on them and pushing them out. And they'll try to pull the, you know, I'm an E4, I'm an E5, I'm a corporal. You're just a little old PFC or Lance Corporal, or, you know, whatever it was at the time. And it's like, okay, and you also, you know, this is punishable under the UCMJ. You purchased my roommate, as well as the girls down the hall, alcohol, Mr. Corporal. You know what I'm saying? Fraternization is also punishable under the UCMJ, you know, and, you know, I just was snapping at him. And they was like, you know what, we gonna back off. But the guys hated me. You know, I was called all types of BITCHs. And there was this motto going around, if you weren't a hoe, then you were a lesbian. So now, granted, I at the time, was, I guess, considered bisexual because I liked guys, but I also liked girls. But at the time, I had just got out of a relationship with a girl. So, I mean, they're calling me all types of lesbians. I'm like, this isn't hurting my feelings. Like, I'd rather be a lesbian. So it's just like, but they thought they were insulting me. And it's just like, okay, whatever. But this is what I had to deal with in the military. I was called the BITCH. I was called the lesbian because I was cock blocking. Wouldn't allow these guys to have their way with, my fellow female Marines that were in my unit, whether it was my roommate or if it was the girls down the hall from me. And I would, lo and behold, I have my key with me. I'll close and lock my door. Ain't nobody coming in my room dealing with my roommate. I'll go down the halls and start making sure all the girls got into their room safely, lock the doors. And if any dudes were in there, I was the one kicking them out. So, long story short, well, not necessarily long story short, but to make it a little simpler for you, I was hated by a lot of guys. And then that started adding to my molding of guys are predators. And so it's like, okay, guys are really predators. Like, these guys are really like, I've been in instances where I came this close to fighting, guys because they were trying to bogart their way into, either my room or these other female Marines' rooms. And these girls were drunk. And it's like, what the freak? Like, old girl can't even keep her eyes open. You know what I'm saying? She is inebriated. Like, there's no way I'm going to let you do anything with this girl. She has no idea what's going on. Like, you get them in the room and they're just limp. They're gone. You know what I'm saying? But these guys would push up on me and try to, and you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, wow. Wow. Other instances where guys would like purposely take females out and just feed them drinks after drinks after drinks after drinks just so they could try to sneak up in their rooms. And I wouldn't allow it. You know what I'm saying? And so dealing with that type of males, that type of predator type, actions, my mind started thinking even more, or being pushed even more, convinced that it's like, guys are really predators. Like, when it literally is us versus them, females versus males, because it's like, ain't no way you can think this stuff is cool, and then to sit here and try to negatively, like, name call, like to be all negative and try to put, negative names onto me because I was trying to protect these girls. Or at the time, these girls, but these women now. And it's just like, it's so mind-blowing to me because it's like women, when they come, at that time, I felt like when it came to women, like, guys really thought that women were just placed here for their pleasure. I mean, not speaking negatively against it because I myself is a Christian, but however, I grew up going to different, churches and listening to different pastors and preach, and every time somebody would preach about how husband and wives were supposed to be, it always felt like they would attack the woman. The women are supposed to be submissive, and it's like, one, the scripture says that wives are supposed to submit to their husbands, not women or females submitting to men in general, males in general. Like, it's wives, submit to your husband. And then they completely overlook the scripture or the verse where it tells these men how they're supposed to be as husbands. You're supposed to love your wife as you love yourself. You know, the scripture says you're supposed to love your wife as you love yourself. Would you put yourself in a dictatorship? You know what I'm saying? But it's like embedded into the American, the American lifestyle, that women are property of men. Like we're just here for their, I don't know. We're just here for their pleasure. I mean, if you look at the story with Adam and Eve, it said that God gave Eve to Adam because he didn't want man to be alone. Eve was supposed to be the completion of Adam. However, man talks about it. They make it seem like we was put here just for their sexual pleasures, like we're their property. I mean, if you look back, into older laws within America, that you have multiple states that gave rights to the husbands to motherfucking punish, whip, even kill their wives, and they were treated like property. They were pretty much in the same boat as a child, how kids are to parents. And it's just like, and it was mind blowing to me because it's like, I'm a Christian, I'm raised Christian, and there's quite a bit of these Christian preachers who's not preaching the word right, and now you got all these troubled men out here seeking relationships with women, and they're dooming these women to this, I don't even know how to describe the lifestyle, but it's just, and I, for the longest, was like fearful of marriage because I was just like, I don't want this. I'm nobody's property, like I'm not trying to submit to anybody who views their role towards me as a dictator. Like that's not how it is. Like this is a compromise. And then they always want to, well, the man is the head of the household. Well, if you look at how a body functions, this is my head, these are my limbs, but yet they all work simultaneously together. Like my head doesn't take precedence over the rest of my body, because without my feet, my head can say feet move all it wants. If I don't have feet, what about to move? What's about to move? Nothing. So it's just like, for the longest, like I can say that I started to like build a hate towards, men, because it's like, or guys in general, males in general, because of, it started from when I was little, that my dad pretty much trained me to where I had to protect myself at all means, because there were these predators out here, men, males. And then I go into the service, and it's, it's exemplified. I see it even more. And, I've seen females, and I've, been treated like garbage. I've heard numerous stories from the mouths of rape victims, in the service. And it's just like, it was mind blowing to me. And it almost like caused me to, like pretty much like hate all male kind. Cause it's like, ain't no way, like y'all all are like this. But that's what it seemed like, because that's what I kept coming encounter with. That's what I kept protecting, my female counterparts from. And then, it took me now at the age of 25, I don't have that, that same mindset, but I do know that there are males out here that are predators when it comes to females. And I know it's not everyone, but it took a lot of growth, a lot of praying, a lot of educating myself within school, because I started taking, I study criminal justice. That's my major. I have a bachelor's degree in it, and I minored in psychology. But I feel like the things that I experienced is what kind of got me onto that path of studying criminal justice, studying psychology. I've took so many different, sociology courses, so I can learn about, women's studies and, different things and it's just sometimes constantly reading can, like learning the new knowledge that I learned was at sometimes a bit overwhelming, especially when you look at the statistics for rape victims, domestic violence victims, and it's just, of course, you have it, you have rape victims, you have domestic violent victims that are males. However, women outnumber them tremendously. And for, when I first started learning that stuff, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just, like even more like males are predators, But then that's when I started to learn that there's male victims out here too. There are some female perps out here, some female predators. And that's when the numbers aren't the same, but even that small bit helped, open my mind to, we all need help, you know what I'm saying? To some extent, like we all need to look out for one another. We got to stop taking advantage of the next person, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know, it's just, I've learned so much, and I'm glad I learned it because I feel like it made me not only just a better person, but it made me so aware, because not only when when it comes time for me to have kids, not only would I prepare my daughters for these predators out here, but I'll prepare my sons, because people, they teach their kids differently. They put gender roles onto stuff where, sensitivity is placed as a female thing. It's feminine. And then defending yourself is a masculine trait. And so, and I've, learned that in the future, in the presence and in my future, in comparison to the past me, the old me, I learned that, just because a female is headstrong, protects herself, doesn't fall victim to, stuff like that, and is not so eager to, be swindled into the same, I don't want to say the same things that other females would, but you know what I'm saying? Like, just because a female, do what I did and was like, no, I don't want to sleep with you. No, you're not going to sleep with her. That don't make that female butch. That doesn't make that female a lesbian. None of that stuff. That makes her protective of herself and her peers. The same thing with guys. Just because a guy isn't hopping on the bandwagon of, treating women like crap, and they're like, hey, we shouldn't do this, just because they're showing sensitivity doesn't mean that he's weak. That doesn't make him gay. That doesn't make him feminine. That makes him a caring person. You know what I'm saying? Like, why downplay somebody because they're compassionate? You know what I'm saying? And the whole point of that is, like, of this story is just this, people need to stop putting gender. Stop putting gender onto stuff and just let people be. You know what I'm saying? Stop taking advantage of people, because everybody come out with these different, justifications because they're upset that they're not able to do or act how they want to react because somebody is different. And so they want to, oh, you're gay, or you're butch, you're too manly for women, or you too woman-like for a man. That's not the case. They're human. And maybe, just maybe, you should try and learn something from this brother or this sister, because we need more of that. You know what I'm saying? We need more people that's not so eager to join in on everybody else and go along with the norm. You know what I'm saying? We need some people that's not afraid to be different, that's not afraid to go against the norm, because there's shelter in that. You know what I'm saying? We all need to be protected. So I just wanted to put that out there because that was something that was sitting on my mind. And it's just like, I feel like it's something that needs to be changed, you know. It's people just need to stop trying to label everything and just let people be. You know what I'm saying? Peace.